After 5 decades, I think we can all agree that the BMW 5 Series has left a mark on the luxury saloon segment. And now, the premium German manufacturer has finally graced us with a fully electric model. So the question is, does the BMW i5 feel like an electric eel or a little bit more like an electrified elephant? Well, we're about to find out. Now, I know that you are all excited to find out everything there is to know about the BMW i5. But before we start, if you do enjoy the kind of content we're producing here at OSV, then I do have a favor to ask you. If you look underneath this video window, you'll see that we are almost at 100,000 subscribers. And I really can't put into words how much it would mean to us to achieve that milestone. So if you enjoy the kind of content we're producing, then do consider subscribing. Now, like I said in the beginning, the BMW 5 Series was first introduced in 1972, and it pioneered what a luxury saloon should look like. A neat package between a comfortable interior, a sleek and stylish exterior, powered by an extremely potent engine. And whilst we can all agree that BMW did in fact set the benchmark to what's expected from these types of vehicles, we cannot deny that that was about 50 years ago. And nowadays, to be honest, most manufacturers do provide a premium saloon offering. And of course, we are also now going through the EV era craze. So this i5 has a lot of boots to fill and an even bigger number of competitors to stand up against, such as the Tesla Model S, the Mercedes-Benz EQE, and the Porsche Taycan. So as always, we'll start this review by taking a look at its design. As expected, the only way to tell this model apart from its combustion and plug-in hybrid variants is by looking at its badging. Otherwise, everything else is exactly the same. At the front, you'll find the famous BMW kidney grille. And even though this is supposedly brand new, I can't help to feel that it looks slightly out of date. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that the kidney grille on the i4 and i7 with that longer shape is slightly polarizing, but to not see it here feels a bit strange. But I suppose that's a bonus for some of you. And I must admit that I really do like the lighting that you get surrounding that kidney grille with this M Sport Pro version. As standard, this will be in chrome or black if you opt for the non-Pro M Sport version, which is very Apple-like from BMW. In terms of headlights, as you can see, the design hasn't changed much, so you still get these LED matrix headlights. But to be fair, these are probably one of the most advanced headlights in the market right now, as they are able to disable single LEDs in order to avoid blinding incoming traffic. The bonnet is also sculpted in a way that creates this V-shaped crease guiding your eyes towards the BMW badge. And if you look closely underneath it, you'll find your front camera. This is what enables those drive assist features. And overall, the front here is full of those aggressive lines and athletic creases, pointing your eyes towards the lower air intake and the kidney grille, creating the aggressive and athletic look that we are used to seeing in BMW models. Taking a look at its side reveals some more of those character lines that do help with aerodynamics, but also, and most importantly, with its looks. We also have this flush door handle design here, and these ones actually have a neat feature where they have this sensor that helps you lock the car. And as you can see, the wing mirrors are automatically folding and are also heated and come integrated with indicators and blind spot monitoring. In terms of other styling accents around the side profile, you get this framing surrounding the side windows, which in our case with the M Sport model is in black, but as standard will be in chrome. Obviously, having the M Sport version also gives you some M Sport badging dotted around the car, but all i5s will come with this 5 badge on the Hofmeister kink. Plus, you also get prominent side skirts to emphasize that sporty look. When it comes to alloys, you can have them in 19, 20, and 21 inches in size, and they do come in a lot of different designs. So you can have triplex spoke, star spoke, M aerodynamic, and even the individual liner, which is BMW's way of saying special and also a lot more expensive. And the same applies to the exterior colors. As standard, the i5 will come in Alpine White, which does look really nice, or you can then opt for one of the metallic options, such as the Sophisto Grey, and that will set you back around £900. You can then also opt from the individual line of colors, and that will set you back around £3,000, but you do get the frozen coating, which is like a matte coating for your paintwork. In terms of dimensions, we're looking at 5,060mm in length, 1,900mm in width, and 1,515mm in height. So your rear passengers will definitely appreciate the amount of extra room on offer. At the rear, you'll find these distinctive L-shaped LED taillights, a subtle spoiler, and also some more of those character lines. And whilst I don't think anything too drastic has been implemented when it comes to the design of this i5, I think that's a good thing. BMW knows what works, and they know exactly what their customers want when it comes to the design of these premium saloons. And they've been doing it over 50 years, slowly chipping away to create a unified and updated look that's instantly recognizable and undoubtedly BMW. But saloons do have a bit of a bad reputation when it comes to the practicality of their boot space. So has the i5 done anything differently here to overcome that issue? Let me start this segment by giving you my unpopular and probably controversial opinion about saloon cars, and feel free to disagree with me down in the comments below. But I actually prefer this boot opening to a hatchback, simply because it's self-contained, meaning that you don't have to worry about opening it in multi-story car parks like this one, and also it's more aesthetically pleasing, well, at least for me. But I suppose that's where the benefits end. And if you are in the market for this type of car, the last thing you're going to do is stuff the boot with furniture. But you can do, because if you wiggle things about, you actually have 490 litres of boot capacity. Plus, if you opt for the comfort pack, you also get this automatic boot lid. If you do need to extend that boot capacity, you can use these levers here to fold those rear seats down in the 40-20-40 arrangement, and that's extremely practical. Plus, it also rewards you with 1,700 litres of extended boot volume. You also get a side pocket, some anchor points, some hooks, and also a substantial amount of underfloor boot space. But considering this is an electric car, I'd reserve that for your charging cables. So whilst you don't really benefit from the versatility of hatchback opening, there's plenty on offer here to suit your daily needs. Plus, you can also configure a tow bar, because this car is actually able to tow up to 1,500 kilos. So you're technically covered in the practicality department. So exterior design, check. Boot practicality, semi-check. What about driving dynamics? Well, Paul actually managed to get the i5 slightly earlier and has been using it to drive around for the past couple of days. So let's join him behind the wheel to see what he makes of it. Tell us a little bit of what that experience has been like.
Well, unreal. It's got more gadgets than I could shake a stick at. It's incredibly comfortable, so responsive to drive. I absolutely love it.
This i5, it's actually an electric 5 Series, and BMW does provide that in as a plug-in hybrid, as a full combustion engine, or you now have this i5 model. And so drivability will definitely depend on which variant you go for. And even within the i5 range, it also changes, because you can have the setup we have here, which is the eDrive 40, or you can go for the M60 performance model, and now we'll have the xDrive, which is essentially the M60. But we won't talk about that one in today's review, just because obviously that will take over the whole segment. So here with our setup, we've got an electric motor that's producing 340 horsepower and 400 newton meters of torque, and that will give you a 0 to 62 time of 6 seconds. Obviously, as always, numbers are only numbers, and for you to really get a gist of how it feels, you kind of need to sit in the car. But Paul, you've been driving it for a while now.
Even though it's electric steering, it sticks to the road amazingly. Any corner you come up to, you're just glued to the road. Tons of visibility. It's an absolutely lovely car to drive.
Alongside that 0 to 62 time of 6 seconds, they have included a boost pedal which you get on the left-hand side of your steering wheel. Now, do you find it useful, or is it simpler than just putting the car in sport mode? Is it the same? Does it feel the same, or do you actually think it feels different?
The boost pedal is brilliant if you're on a dual carriageway. So I mean, we're currently on a dual carriageway, and unfortunately we've got a lot of traffic in front of us, and I'm not going to be silly. But when you hit the boost pedal, you instantly feel that boost of power. And I've now got a countdown on the dashboard going from 10 to 0, and I've got 10 seconds to accelerate. So if I need to pull out and overtake something, I hit my boost pedal, I can pull out into the outside lane, not be stupid, but it will accelerate a lot faster than normal, but only in that 10-second window. So it just gives you enough time to do what you need to do.
As you will see in the interior section, here we've got a massive light bar, which they call it, I think, the crystal strip.
That's it.
And it changes color according to what driving mode you're in. So, which is quite nice, you know, it lets you know, it's a bit of a gimmick, but it looks nice, and it is useful because it does let you know what driving mode you're on. But one thing is performance, another thing is efficiency, and obviously with an electric car, those figures are quite important. So feeding that electric motor is an 81.2 kilowatt hour battery. That actually supports rapid charging up to 200 kilowatts. So you can do a 10 to 80% charge in half an hour, or if you just have, 10 minutes and you just want to stop by and you actually come across one of those rapid chargers, you can get an extra 100 miles in a 10-minute charge. Using AC charging, it supports up to 22 kilowatts, so you can charge at home and you'll be safe in the knowledge that you'll be fully charged by the next day. Plus, if you do have the BMW app, you can also choose when you want it to start charging to obviously benefit from those cheaper rates. And another thing that the BMW app lets you do as well is if you turn up to one of those rapid chargers and you sign into your BMW with your BMW ID and stuff, you actually don't have to, get your card out and everything. Everything will be done automatically, so you don't have to pay. Everything links with each other magically. As most things with technology are nowadays, everything just connects to each other somehow, and your bank account does go slightly down, but not as much as it would be if it was, filling up a full tank of petrol. When it comes to range, on paper, we should have around 357 miles of range, which is pretty decent. But as we know, real world range is around 50 miles. So I'd say you could expect around 300 miles of range. Now, obviously you guys don't know Paul, but if you work with Paul and if you see his desk, it's very tidy. Don't get me wrong, it's super tidy, but it works. His workstation is a triple monitor setup. Now, I only use a single screen. Most people use two. Paul, for some reason, requires 3. So considering the fact that you've got your infotainment display, your driver's display, and your heads-up display, is that good enough for you?
I'm a very happy boy. I had the maps on my way home last night to try out the sat-nav. And yeah, I've got the big map here, I've got the little map in the middle here, I've got the heads-up display telling me the same thing. Yeah, it's brilliant. Heads-up display is amazing. I haven't got to take miles off the road. I literally just glance down and I can see what's going on. But I look down at my main screen, a bit more information that I need, and I'll be honest, I very rarely need to look at this big LCD screen over here. I don't need anything on there unless I haven't yet found a reason. Even when the maps are on, everything I need sitting right in front of me between these 2 screens here. I'm not saying I could drop down to 2 screens, I'm keeping my 3 screens. In this case, I could use just the 2 screens.
Now that we talked about the specs of the car, the electric motor, the battery, the screens, the charging times, the range. Most importantly, I think, for everybody, is the drivability. That's the most important thing. When you sit in a car, how does it feel? Do you enjoy the driving experience? And the first 5 Series was released back in the 70s, but here we also have a dual suspension setup. In the front we have a double wishbone attached to that front axle, and in the rear we have a 5-link axle, and that really helps with this car's drivability. And when you actually go around corners, because this car weighs almost 3 tons, it's a heavy car, you wouldn't know it, because the rear suspension actually compensates for the cub weight, so you end up kind of not feeling it. But that's, again, this is paper material, this is writing material. How does that translate into what you are experiencing behind the wheel?
So, coming back to the car I normally drive, this is my best example I think I can give of the absolute quality and comfort of this. My iconic French piece of engineering, the Zara Picasso. I know every pothole in the south of England because I've hit most of them, and it's bone shaking in that car. Rearranges most of your internal organs. I've hit the same potholes, not on purpose, because you can't avoid them in this, and not even notice they were there. It's such a smooth ride. I know it's firm, it's sporty, and I did read up about the vehicle before taking it that it was going to be quite a firm ride. I'll be honest, it's a really nice carpet ride.
That's even considering the fact that we've got the M Sport version here, which obviously has stiffer springs, stiffer dampers, so it would be a stiffer ride and you would expect to feel some of those bumps, but due to that great suspension setup, you actually, I mean, as a passenger, I feel nothing. Now, obviously, we talked about everything, or the majority of things. As always, if you guys have any additional questions, pop them in the comments below. We'll come back to you as soon as we can. But I think regarding drivability again, just to finalize, tell us a bit about the handling, tell us a bit about the comfort of these seats, tell us a bit about, probably most importantly, the visibility.
Okay, comfort of the seats, yes, very. I can get myself into a position where I'd like to take this seat out and put it in my living room and sit on it rather than the sofa, because it's far more comfortable. Steering wheel forwards, backwards, ups, down, usual sort of movements. But you can get yourself to a position where you are just really cocooned and comfortable in the right place. Visibility, I think, is brilliant. I know it's a saloon, so the rear window's not huge, but there's still plenty of visibility back there, and you can see what's going on quite happily. Mirrors are gigantic, loads and loads of space from those, and yeah, outside the windows, the pillars aren't too big. There's enough room in between to be able to see, especially on corners, what's coming up, where the curb is, etc. Handling is amazing. We've talked about suspension. It's stiff enough to hold the road beautifully. I do think this is beating the Polestar. I have to say, this I think is at my #1 spot for comfort, drivability. Gadgets, I'm a bit of a gadget freak, as we all know. I do like my gadgets, and this is absolutely loaded to the hill. Just the general layout, the way it's made. I'm sorry, Polestar, but I think this BMW i5 has just gone in at #1. I absolutely love it. Yeah, hats off BMW, you've done very well with this vehicle, I've got to say. I like it.
That's something you guys are going to see throughout this review is, obviously, this is not a new car. This is, as in like, this is a new model, a new variant or refreshed model, but it isn't new by any means. And when I say that, what I mean is that this car has been 50 years in the making. The first 5 Series came out in '72. So, you know, BMW knows, they know what they're doing, and it's just about, you know, chipping away, perfecting it, and that's why we get this car in the end, and that's why it's such a unified experience all across the board. But I don't want to give away too much just yet. Paul, thank you so much for driving me about, as always. We are now going to go back, and I'm going to give you guys an interior tour of this cabin space, because it is really, really special. Well, what can I say about the i5's interior cabin? So at 6 foot, as you can see, I got no issues with legroom, knee room, or even headroom. These seats are probably the most comfortable seats I ever sat on. There are also 6 additional interior trims to choose from. In terms of tech, you get these dual curved displays comprising of a 15-inch infotainment display and a 12-inch digital instrument cluster, plus you also get a heads-up display. Underneath the display, you have this light bar, and embedded on it, you have the controls for your climate. But then again, these are only touch sensitive, so I'll probably stick to your voice commands. But as you can see, this light bar also changes depending on which drive mode you're on or the color that you've set it up. And it starts on the driver's side, crosses the dash, and goes all the way to the passenger's side. Underneath the touch bar, you'll find an integrated air vent, and you can control the direction and intensity of the airflow using an actual physical button. And then from there, you got a couple of smartphone slots that also double as wireless chargers, a couple of cup holders, and I really do like the placement of the buttons on the center console because you can easily find your way around them. In terms of space at the back here, I have no issues even at 6 foot, and these seats are extremely comfortable. I would even say the middle seat is alright for shorter journeys. Plus, you can also fold it individually to load through those longer objects. So overall, if you're looking for comfort and luxury, you'll definitely get it here. But how much will it set you back? So the i5 does come in 3 different trim levels or 3 different options. So you got Sport, which starts at just under £68,000, and you do get those 19-inch wheels, but you are lacking the burgundy upholstery if that's something you enjoy, and also some of those high-tech features such as your heads-up display. This M Sport version starts at £74,000, and you do get the Veganza leather. There's also the M Sport suspension and the M aerodynamic alloys. If you do want to spec out your model and get the best performance version, then you need to see the M60 variants, and those will set you back around £94,000, but you do get everything you get with these trims plus all the performance features. As always with every BMW, there's a lot of packs. So you've got technology pack, you got the technology plus pack, you got the comfort pack, the comfort plus pack, the performance pack, and those do range from £2,000 up to £5,000. So if you do want to dive into those options and find what comes with every single pack, then do give us a call and our vehicle specialist will be more than happy to go over everything for you. And with that said, should you buy, lease or finance the BMW i5? Well, if you are on the market for a premium electric saloon, it really doesn't get much better than this. However, style is undoubtedly BMW, performance is undoubtedly BMW, and interior comfort is undoubtedly BMW. So if you're not looking for a BMW, then this might not be the option for you. But if you are looking for a vehicle with great range, extremely high-tech features, and a boost pedal that will put a smile on your face, then this one is the one to go for. And yes, there's a lot of packages and options and trim levels. Interior practicality and boot versatility might not be quite up there, plus that price might be a bit steep. But as I've been saying, this car has been in the making for the past 50 years, boiling down every single element into a solid option. And if you'd like to get a solid offer on the solid option, then do give us a call on 01903 538 835 and our vehicle specialist will be more than happy to go over every single package for you so that you can get the i5 that you desire. Busy schedules require practical solutions. So if you don't have time to chat right now, then do click on a banner above to book a date and time for a call back. Or if you are on a hunt for a different model or even a different brand entirely, then do visit our website because we have literally millions of listings, so we are sure that you'll find a great offer. Like I said at the beginning of this video, we are almost at 100,000 subscribers, and that's an incredible milestone to achieve. So if you want to help us reach that milestone and enjoy the kind of content we produce here at OSV, then do consider subscribing to our channel and also clicking the notification bell to be notified when our next review goes live. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. You take care and safe driving.